Omaya Juma with Kumasi Nyame on Afro 614 Radio.
Mema obi bia kwa aba edema Omaya Juma so ewo Afro 614 multimedia Afro 614 radio. Ye frame Kumasi Nyame te say de bia munim no metena Omaya Juma so ana ye oman ho adwuma na ye ba abedie. Ene de ye ba Sunday, but there's a reason for that. It will be unpacked very soon. To say that bia me no ye ba Omaya Juma so de amunina munim say quick copy Columbus and the summer sene ema me de Omaya Ejuma e de bro quick copy Columbus no obe printing works and kwane anything printing tip open volume copies, open business cards, open brochures, open flyers, promo items, booklets, carbonless forms, invitations, rubber stamps, photos. Ninyina you be to me aye e the amount. Quick copy of former Ashland University building on 1900 East Dublin Granville Road 161 also why hona ubehu quick copy. Open so friends so a 614-888-2201. Ana Ghana de Ghana. US half an nyina so a ye ship the bro. It will call your website na quickcopycolumbus.com. Or call quickcopycolumbus.com. Ye ship into do kwa na wa contact then bibi o hubiano na ye ne wo aka nti na no so de wo ho no ene yebedi nkomo na yebedi no mene Dr Gyimah na eba bedi sa nkomo no asana me introduce guest no da bia me ka kire mo se ba show yi so na se wan share na se akoye se de adwuma na ye no wani nya de enye ho nti ba cha oba show no so ano aye de no wa share no invite amanfo na omo so aba join the show no na ama show no aye fe ye frame Kumasi Nyame. My name is producer Ernest and so and waha obomachidom. So for bare 2 months in the munimo, there's a lot going on when it comes to marriage. There have been attacks, and this attacks, and it's not just attacks, it's just deadly attacks on marriage. That is going on. Obetia yese ubi akushu to ubi because of suspecting a partner. Obetia yese ubi ashe no comfort because of a partner. Obetia yese ubi akushi ase de gubi so because of and ninina so a kwa ABC marriage yeah. It's we thinking about what happened in Columbus last week, you know. We thought about it, say, let's have a conversation about marriage. And about our real so honsema and you will be a and then our real honsem eka. Sometimes you know advices I need nyano our real hono and no na inform me a decision when we go into the marriages. It's and then made Mr. Dr. Gyimah Abba, Dr. Gyimah, or the head pastor of Columbus All Nation SDA Church, or no also the owner of Quick Copy Printing Press, or the author of Trusting the Promiser to Keep the Promise. Mr. Gyimah Moakwaba.
Grazie, come se.
Mpacha what to say?
Yamiadom.
Abusuafo eh.
You know,
yeah. Honestly, I said me that was for accepting to do this with me. Because you know, say you were the first person that give me a call about what had happened.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. Say we say you call me and say, what did you see? I'm like, let me check out.
Yeah,
and
Obi catch him and I see there be I have news people until let me confirm.
Let me talk about people.
Yeah, and
you didn't know your news people were not in the news. Yes. So after being information, it's just clicking on me. Just a free. The next day, you know, I'm sorry, it was just ringing in my mind. I said, what is this? What is this?
Same to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, you are the right person to talk to. Me da se pass say, wajibre say, one ye ebetena se. Eti from patch on mobile mo share video no and fama na bibia enko so wano and fama ye nyina. Mr. Gyimah, business to say.
So far so good.
Ekoi.
Yeah, one day at a time.
Edejamiase. Yes, be ma de adwuma ko yara pressure no also. Edejamiase. So we are going to talk about marriage. Said the Canada no. E be dia ware ho komo. Na unsa ware no from different cultures and there's different ways of approaching marriage and looking at the dilute culture to say the ekika you know. As a man my confusion. Timpe say o insight or marriage mo ni wo sue hu no marriage mo say o mame the origin, you know, the base. They declare say worry do we is it an institution that is so important say obi and I will be so or say or then hondom no it's mame the background on and then let's take it from there.
Yeah, I mean that's it. I think so before we even discuss marriage, we have to see where it all started.
Of course.
Osha, it started when man was created. Je trust him, dino. Nim say nyamene boy, and God did not just create us out of a vacuum. He had a plan. When man was created, no, it became bo and moane bibia a nipa betimi survival on. And then the next discussion in the Godhead was let's make man in our image. Into her nipa no, we are not just ordinary beings and namasasi. So we were created for a specific purpose and created in God's image. Into a honor, I think that this whole issue, this whole institution of marriage, was established. Nyakopon bo bema and who said there be bema ono kwanenam. Let's create another being to complement him and create oba. But he didn't just create her from anything, he created him from part of the man. They became one. They were not the same. Eve was different, Adam was different. Each one of them was unique, but they were one. And Honon and Yakupon established this institution of marriage. He is say and it was not just any kind of Shira warrior, so it was a covenant because it was initiated by Nyankopon and Kasa. And that's the origin of where it started. And you're right, moving on, different cultures have different ways, but it's an institution and Nyankopon and Kasa ninsa ewom.
So that makes it something yes nipa bia usiso out of bedom institution.
Yeah, it is because the command there was get married, multiply, have dominion over the world. It's a good thing that Nyankopon started here. But as you and I know, bibia Nyankopon bibia the enemy has to come in or tries to come in and create some confusion with her, which even started right there because over Nyankopon bo Nipano, and hopefully we'll get into this some other time, where we have the different roles you play. Bema when you role or play, or Ba when you role or play. Crofobie Brefi said, Yankopon come boom no, Omina be pet. No, they were unique.
In their own ways.
Yeah, in their own way. There was something that Yankopon Yifri Adamu to create Obano. Into Oyesano, for Adam to be complete, he needed what he had lost plus more. Into Obano brought that completion. Into Beme Bia Obe Warino. Your wife is supposed to bring an addition to what you don't have and even more. Into now here, marriage is a kosono ye, marriage is a mema eta tio moyirinom. Because she's coming with something that
statement this one review.
Now this says
marriage eta kosono.
Yeah, marriage eta kosono. Marriage is a bemano etie and make plans with her because she's coming with something that you did not have. And she's coming to complement you. Because right from creation, Eve did not come to be the same with Adam. No, Eve came to be one with Adam, one in purpose. They were all unique in their ways. But look at what Satan did. Satan came into the family with a temptation. He bypassed the hierarchy, bypassed Adam, and went to Eve. Adam became the follower. And right there, he disrupted the system. And any family that disrupts that system begins to have problems.
Wow. My home from that identity. Basically, say when we are looking at marriage, say obia ba in a unique way.
Yeah, everyone is unique.
The other beba table so. The fan say oba no a man mostly come more as a counselor. The man see tie mana enema ko yi.
No, let's look at it this way. So Adam, God puts him to sleep. He takes part of him and creates Obano. Right there, Adam is missing something. God did not just create Obano just because with the Oyifri Adam. He added more to Eve. Eve Ubano, she's coming to complement Adam and even make add more to Adam. Oba, in that combination, and I said them becoming one in purpose, one in agenda, one in everything on baby. And the enemy knows that yen na ye kamboma. We know say if we agree on what to do or how, this show will be successful. The moment we start having disagreements here, this show will not be successful. And it's the same thing. It's just
the tactical.
Yeah, it is. And you see, you're dealing with an enemy. Yeah, can't attacks no. We're dealing with an enemy who's been in this business for hundreds and thousands of years. We are not his co-equal.
No, we are not.
But
we are not.
But there is something that we have access to. We have access to the covenant maker, who can guide us. We have all of this, but it's also good to know when you know the tactics of your enemy, you're better prepared.
Wow. When you know the tactics of your enemy, you prepare.
Yeah, so football, Musa. Yes, some other teams how they
spies.
Play. Yeah, and then they come back and say, "This is
information."
Yeah. Say it's good. Say we know some of these things, and now you who say these are possibilities. It's possible. Say, Abia, you won't experience it, but say if it arises,
this is how
I know that this would come.
Yeah, in our society, me looking at things that are happening, especially last 2 months, Ghana and Kwan domestic, recorded at least 16. Wow. This is what is reported. Nini also end up in murder. Ubi shiasi degu ubi so ubi ashe no wa konfo. Nini na ya wari nsema. I'm looking at it. Where did we even go wrong? Something I know there's a lot of factors that comes into all that, but it seems especially with the young men that gets into marriage, it seems we are now well prepared for that. It seems preparation is a problem.
Also, Obi can say there are 3 rings. Also, there's the engagement ring, there's the marriage ring, and there's the suffering.
And also
out of that suffering, and we have high divorce rate, we have domestic violence. Unfortunately, some of them end tragically. We have all of these issues, and issues they have ripple effects. Into Yemfan say Oko immigration appointment. There's an interview, if if he's under any of this suffering, it will fear. It could affect your chances. It will interview no.
Wow.
Cashier or check you out already. It will store. If they have anything in their family, son or panel, enkoya, it could affect you. Police officer best stop. And you begin to see it has effects.
Yes.
In school, they're not performing well because there's something going on at home. Teachers, they'll pick up on it and find out and some parents would open up, you begin to see the ripple effect. And we're dealing with an institution in Yankopon share that a creative. And Bonsam Nimsa also would make everything a say sad and encoso. Because the kind Nipa was created in the image of God to look like God. The man was created to replicate, to produce other images of Nyankopon all over the place. And at the dominion. And Satan knows all of these things. I think say offline near Casa and we talked about our preparation here. We talk about communication. Communication, in general, sir. But let's look at another playbook.
Okay.
We are communicating. But if there is no proper understanding of what we are doing, and look at the Tower of Babel, for people who are versed with the Bible, after the flood, Nipa started a Dawson. And then they came up with a plan that they be adi insu abese and why don't we build a tower, high rise, I bedru osro. Inti Nyankopon hwe no, they were doing good. And I said, the way Ankrofo ya kan bo mu kan kasa ba kwen bibie ni ho mu ntimi nye. And it's true. When we are united, if we are united, we can do so much. But then God changed their language. He caused misunderstanding. And I'm very sure Satan jinaho and he looked at that playbook and said, "Oh, so this is how you do
Tactics
it."
nanny.
Yeah, tactics nanny. And you begin to see, say, every problem, yeah, say, yeah, worry, say, business, it's misunderstanding.
You know, me looking in the crowd from that sense. But as you are saying it now, no, if you ain't fan say Ejuma na unu will be here.
Yeah.
The only thing that made Ejuma then koso, because can see or also can see.
Yeah. And
you're not on the same page. Yes.
Yeah.
You're right.
And where members we communicate differently. Emma communicate differently. Emma communicate, they have details. They go in more details. I'm sure say ufri ha kofi na wife busal say oh show ni ko sen ya obeka so e ko ye and I say ni say but ono ne free ha ko na ubusa na she'll give you details time and bedroom her
you see I'm laughing about this
all
but
of these details and when you don't have that understanding it creates a honor, it creates conflict. And another thing is say yenso ay bata hono. Another example, young fan say me free her say no. Me could makwa ko drufie. Mo have see o ya aduane si ho. Me so me need it. My main common me. Maybe our friend are down for. So kwesi pa cross who need you say say wafa baby no makwa ko di baby. You know? Understanding.
You're planting seed.
You're planting seed no. And you begin to see say, and I think that this is the main issue. And that's why Satan went to Eve and miscommunicated something to her. Gave her a different version of instruction and Yakupon the Mono. One, he didn't go to Adam, bypassing that hierarchy and going straight to the woman, and the woman became the decision maker. And he distorted that. He knows this is somebody who could deceive a third of the angels.
One third
of the angels.
No, unipa.
I think that the attack on families is so great because he knows that families they present an image of a relationship with Nyankopon. And another issue, I think is the way we approach marriage. Many people approach marriages as a contract, marriage contract. Marriage in your contract is a covenant. You can have a contract with somebody without any relationship. Ukotoka, the salesperson doesn't have to like you. They don't have to do anything personal with you. But but covenant is different. There has to be a relationship in a covenant. And many people approach aware as a contract. And unfortunately, we have so many couples as roommates.
People approaching marriage as contract. It has to be a covenant.
So covenant has to do with relationship. And covenant is initiated by Nyankopon. There is no way say I would get into a marriage covenant and then assemble, I go to a judge to annul it. The judge did not institute that. And I said, Sako. And then in my mind, I think, BBI. Okay. No. Covenant, no, Nyankopon is involved. And that's why I think says somewhere in Malachi, they were doing that a lot. Or why a lot of divorce. And in Malachi, Nyankopon say, you are disturbing my altar with crying and all of that. And I'll say it is because of how you've treated the wife of your youth.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Also you've been unfaithful to her, even though she's faithful to you. And I can say she's the woman of your covenant, your marriage covenant. No, it's not because God himself instituted this. He knows that if I can alter it kakra and create a misunderstanding of this whole institution, I've achieved my agenda. All of these problems is as a result of that. Miscommunication, misunderstanding. And this is, none of us are immune to this.
Of course.
Yeah, Christian homes, non-Christian homes, it is the same thing. If there is a misunderstanding, that's what happens. And unfortunately, no.
Wow.
It ends up being what has happened in many homes.
Is it say because you know how you are saying say it's a covenant? Yeah, a covenant. I think say some people also think it's a covenant, but it be a because I'm not understanding why say if marriage is that important of an institution in our society, I say you invest time in it to make sure say we get things right, or we have a clearer understanding of what the whole institution is about. Because looking at what this society is going, it looks like say, okay, maybe a young guy, maybe university, my benye Gyimah, my next movie say me pay you and must start a woman.
Yeah.
Oh, sa na nyina no yente ase ura mu wi a ansa na obadwen say
yeah
ade say ade na say what do we have to do?
I would say it's marriage itself it has a recipe for disaster from the beginning. Because okofa obi a different family attitude different upbringing, different worldview, different mindset. No akofa oba so different upbringing, different mindset, different education. Wodi nipa mienu we abetena fa ko se umware. Yeah, it is almost setting them up for failure. But the preparation part, and then I think that we have talked about this. The preparation part, it's so important. Many of us have not approached this with the seriousness that it demands. And you're not going to marry Bema to come and help you achieve your agenda, or vice versa. To achieve my agenda. That person is unique. They have their own purpose in Yamibomo.
It is say to say okay, maybe to say me person yes A and B. Maybe I mean who or baby na who or bar maybe I'm who say Obama so interest. See. Me father beboa. If say that approach near wrong, say me ko in, say me ko fa or me ho can ya be come hona wa beboa me am achieve the status. If say that approach near wrong approach.
No, but you also see say Obama, does she also have or no aspirations? You know, does she have it too? Because unfortunately, what we've seen, especially in this part of the world, to reach where Bema no peso reachy, sometimes under the promise, oh, maybe ye where we are, I'll also help you. And it happens among students. Oh, yeah, Gyimah, namitimi school we are also meboao. Bema ne we school, our bonny degree so pay now we are say, obey we no. Now maybe they feel say Obano is not up to their level because oko baby on fanemko. But what if that person had kept to their word and also help Obano to get some education? But it all comes down to preparation and having that candid conversation. And I think that is where we have maybe faulted kakra.
How do we approach that? Say, me situation in the oba manage no. Be there me who say, okay, oba we will be a one wait me believe in the covenant that we are getting. Having the understanding, say, I didn't and your contract, a covenant, and I need transaction, a covenant. Okay, to say a covenant there, how do we approach a covenant? How do I see that in a woman? Like, how do I make sure I pick a woman that will understand? How do I also make sure I put myself in that situation?
We go back to preparation, and in preparation we have counseling, and I applaud denominations so more those services available, and I think that is where we can achieve most of these things, to let people know the seriousness of what they are getting into. It is not just say yawari keke, but after that these couples are going to live together. And these are conversations that people have when people, before they get married, there's that courtship. You talk about these things, and then there's this another issue we talk about submission. Where and I think maybe with another discussion we can go into the roles of Bema.
Yeah, we will.
Because those conversations will bring out a lot. Because there are many people, and where in our culture, unfortunately, many people are introducing crofoma. Oh, when was when it happens like that, Ebia meet me who said asimesi, but openi we akenti, I trust them. My spiritual father biaka, my mommy biakenti, I trust them.
And you see one sorry them.
And when we meet in those settings, everybody puts up their best. share one share ya call I can meeting ya call sorry program be obia your best maybe already we know
even Sunday church
into ba ware we no na hu say be me kra on pet ni sintwitwi and I said
there's so many things that you
and
see.
then it begins to create a year. But in counseling, no, I think say counselors no should hopefully no be very candid and let couples know what can arise, what can go wrong, and all of these things. And in that process, no, say be me do baby who say, I think say I'm not really prepared. It's okay to walk away.
Hey. Say if I say me oba be say boy ko enu say me oba be say boy na back out say no if o ye so for me yabo wani mu na bia mo asori mpanyimfo mo boy in counseling na mo kire ele bia le dru be na be say yeah can them say me near ready I can walk away
emre bi na ye pese etofie ene ko hu fie bi wo I think say Black Lake area ho yes sign bibia ni hu say ada enema bi ebe mu wana there be ade no and I think that we have to be candid enough during that time unyan ware no it's the best time to walk away because just ask yourself practically are you going to just to save face no get into something that unim say you have a 70 to 80% chance of conflicts versus unims and you respectfully walk away.
I think say a honomo no remember we bit be take say decision but from a man point no on say because obabi wo ho a me girl bi akasa or catch up straight say onim say guy bi na onye ni kunu no ware no onye be ma but no free say onyini nti say wo ne ma na say at least obi so hu say waware bi it's a gukura na obi ehun say waware bi wa ma.
Well, that's a personal choice.
In that situation, it makes it so hard to say if I say, oh yeah, bear man, that you know the thinking of this woman, and it makes it so hard to say we be making that decision, you know. In that situation, you know, how do you go about it? Say, yeah, mommy, what the before you can when you sure I do be.
No, but at the end of the day, no, obi always see our quite to be honest, an adult. They see everything. And if they decide to go for it, hey, at least no, the counselor no has presented everything they can present. Inti.
And to say if I say counselors ne hunu a ehunu say bi aware we the way a ene ma na si kono. And ombetumi aka say enye sure say maware based on name 1 or 2 bi a mo dey atu because say omo the information ne ba mo take notes of what is going on. And to say mo compare notes no from both sides now. Most bit me I recommend if you say Charlie, our way dear. Mwamo. Ebeya give you a mon chank a cry and say bibisa. And is this something that maybe the counselor should also start doing?
No, I think so. Before somebody comes to you for counseling, no, they have that relationship with you. Say, Una, we want you involved in by virtue of that, no, they have some kind of trust. And they would respect your opinion. And Unim says at times, you know, they're excited. They have all these aspirations before them. It has to be done in a way that it's also redemptive and crush you. You know, it has to be done in love and in a way they see where you're coming from, you know. But also it's options. You give them options and give them scenarios, and the decision is theirs. If they decide, say, we want to pursue this.
And do you ever say? I'm stressing on that because what that field I'm stressing on that. You ever say you're counselor no? You hunu baby at the end of counselor and hunu baby at the end of who's at the way a time bomb no more to say they ever pie. What hunu sa you know? Is this something that or recommend it? Let's say Evans in the pananya. You being also for our race and wait me I can say me that's our race.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, because if you go ahead and do it, it's a double standard. Yeah, because we work as a then what be any pemu or obi wasem can obi otiembiano say now or forever hold your peace. One kasano you've said say you know yeah and I think say it has to be done in a way you let the couple see things, you know, and if they really like the if they really put the interests of each other ahead of themselves, they'll be honest with themselves and say say. And I think say before you get to that point, Krano, each one of us should also do our homework. You know, once at it, you know, our families got involved in so many things, and I think say they did it out of some kind of they knew what they were doing, and then I don't think so we've done that. I'm not versed in the details.
Many papa be kasai, and he told me say I saw you na be take that position now.
Yeah.
From them, because now on another point they say I see most of the time now they more yes they say they were looking out for genetic behaviors. They say fancy will be or if you why are you be that time no DNA new lab will be a test bibia but it bit me a subi a wofi bim and a be a be a wofi bimu etimi ehunu say be a de we anyway shia ebia emwa it's a nuntina no moko fie mu no moko busa sa anema no but the moment the church na get involved no omayi abusuana sinchen to say the bibia is done with the church but before cry here information they have to go to soften the beka say it will also feel say because of that ntia moment to me what they really have to do and our country also has been a part because say you know obi a greener pastures into obi to kwada ko she obi wo kwa betimi na ware be 10-15 years na dem amen papa kwa hu omo da
yeah the church has taken up a lot of roles, social roles, all kinds of roles, and as we take on these roles I think it's important to put competent people to run these different because people look up to their churches. They believe in churches leadership. In the least we can do as church leaders is to give first class services to them, not just in certain areas, but in something as important as a marriage covenant in Yankopon, directly involved.
Dr Gyimah with Kumasi Nyame on
Radio. When you think about it, and sometimes when you look at them, so now share the our renti situation. Now, some brilliant people. Obi how to say we nipa bia senka enema to ye wona wari muma na commit me achieve so much height. But Osha because of our renti no na say nipa no the life aye. And we keep saying say communication. But communication you know ye di nkomo no ye di e nkomo no ni ye nimfa baby a esi ye di. Because it seems that I don't think so. We bet me she will be one day na waka say oh me hunu no hwe me kwakwa ware no. Definitely they talk kakra mo ko talk kakra ene hwehwehwe ni maybe kakra. Ye ni ya because the rate of divorce and the rate of attacks I think it's too much.
So on say in addition to communication you find say all of our listeners on our viewers are worried already. There are stresses our remo.
Okay.
Be a stressy. Unfortunately, a mema, many of us don't have any coping mechanism. How do we deal with this? Emma do better
with stress.
With stress coping those coping mechanisms.
Okay.
They have we hardly have those outlets and Oma ye woman so most of the time PS everything is not as serious as it should be. If we all have those coping mechanisms, me say when I'm stressed, there are certain things I have one or two people I can always call. And when I call them, I'm very candid with them. And then I have but I also have a coping mechanism. When I'm stressed and really overwhelmed, I cook.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And my name is na mi reja. My wife knows.
No, who said pressure?
Yeah, something is wrong. That's maybe coping mechanism. And I think say each one of us should have obia we can reach out to, and reach out to obia. They will not tell us what we want to hear because say me person obia madiana me person in the coin. I'm sure said there are one or two friends be me froma do encourage me to fight. But if the solution is not a koa, there has to be a friend. I'm a friend of a Kase Debi.
Say and also na e nyina yempe no.
Yeah.
Say the obeka do kra kire. And na it scares us.
Yeah, but for the sake of our sanity, for the sake of your marriages, for the sake of our future, the children, the community, no, we need that. We really need that. And even Omomun Kano Krenche and Okrano, I think that we have to start being honest and holding ourselves accountable. You know,
so why are we even keeping people like that around us?
You know, so some of them you cannot avoid. They are Omunomokwa, sorry, like in fancy studio ha. Yemi and say if you move back on suggest Okuye Bibi, now you name deep down our hearts are in ya. We shouldn't even no. We should tell them, say, Jack,
that's how they know,
you know, and talk them out of it, because some of these things, no, they have ripple effects. They have a lot of people affected, you know. Yeah, because as I say, no, they see, you know, we have kids that have lost a dad.
As a matter of fact, I just saw yesterday that the kids were doing GoFundMe. Yeah, it broke my heart.
Yeah.
The kids were doing GoFundMe to, I think say we have made the link in the bed towards so anybody that can help. The kids were doing GoFundMe so because they need to pay for baby or whatever. Didi and I'm crying be so minor. Didi school and ana krumu so you disca and it's na.
So you begin to look at all of that, those ripple effects. When we look at this, there are certain things that we have to hold each other accountable. Unfortunately, no, or fortunately, you're too quiet, and the life here, no, is so stressful. Yeah, it be a bema wakwe jumem supervisor krano when you channel. Under the circumstances, send pano krano. Yeah, but you will be a juma. No free one of the African countries, me body. And I was in the raho. I'm saying, what's my brother? Was it your wounding now on so primum prada or conform pramano?
The life
in the life no musin in Yama. So I bade memha or prania ye. And I jokingly told him, said, a bear sound cool crum because crum hano. Depend on the kind of job out here. And I'm kind of well, your supervisor or no where. The owner and coincidentally, you call break no. The owner of the company, this company in Hilliard, the owner of the company, eba break room ho, na se coffee honana ye, and of far paper towel, and all cleaning ho. And I'm a prayer and I'm saying, that's the owner of the company. You know, and you be brave stressing and I think say the last place we want to experience stress is fear. And when we talk about the gender roles near we'll get into details, the physiological effect, the psychological effect of that. Abemebia wants to be the king, because that is how God has created us. And a masu who the ruler will play to support Bemano, Bemano who ruler will play to support Emano, and all the kids involved. I think we have to start talking about the practicality of these things. And not spiritualize BBA. Oh, Yamompai, Yamibe. Yes, Yamibe. But God has also given us the sense to have some practical enema.
And dominion.
Yeah, once a yesu, bra or obi or sanya so call. But the friend be by or sanya, or the anya and also koko. Showing the man there are certain things that we have to also do. And yeah, go ahead.
Well, now can we be about the friends now we keep around, or that we should be able to have people around us, and people that we can tell so we are the whole wrong.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we live in a society. The same father say, "But here we have a business partner. Maybe hard or say, oh, Charlie, me your girlfriend, you get my wife or Hamilton, me there, but coffee girlfriend." We live in a society. It becomes so hard to say. Is that even in my place to tell a grown-up man say, on a life or live, or nyayana? Like it looks to me. Say, is that not out of bounds for me? Say, me call will be boundary. Musa catch say, unu ya unim so wo ba wo fi ti no sa the lifestyle we no emwa oni ade jai.
If that same person told you say ubi and bibi or kunifia kukumna, would telling them say it's wrong be out of bounds?
I said, no, I don't think it will.
No.
Be.
Bound said that actor ufi say and I say if he say out of bounds, no, it has ripple effects. It can cause so many things down the road. Ebia in the moment, no, it's cool. But down the road, no, it has so many things. And I think that we have to do better. We have to do better. There are things I be obim pesobeti, but if I'm your friend, now also you're madam for, I think say our friendship should be at the level where you timi kind of criteria, you know, you timi talk to people out of things. And it's unfortunate say it's not happening as it should.
Oh, you say what kind of me now for nyina me sra mo muntie. Me mu bedi nkomo pa because and it's funny that any pair as me too ni just 3 weeks ago. Ni ene nyina act why you didn't come. You know, I think that's one of the reasons why it's just hit me in a different way though. Yeah. Now you need to why you didn't come a say you nyina eti basement you didn't come a say there's no part of the person that say in less than a month, no.
Yeah.
Obetimi commit atrocities, to the point to say because share the mampo untimi fun. It's just
don't say ni pediano. There's a certain point you get when you're stress level you don't think rationally.
If you not say.
Yeah, you do things one casano. If you had time to reflect on it, you'd be ashamed of yourself, and I say you'd be like, whoa. But unfortunately, you get to that point, you're not thinking straight. And I think that those are the crucial moments we need to be able to identify, say, oh, my true stage, this is a dangerous stage. Can I call somebody? And there is no harm or shame in asking for help.
Oh, say help, no.
Yeah.
Maybe say, my life, by example. Mm-hmm. The only time I became vulnerable to tell my marriage problem to somebody that I regarded so much. Oh, sorry. Say, I realize that most of the people, sorry to say, were not educated. Oh, sorry. Until sometimes, you know, from angle, but not in my mind, I feel like they didn't understand. Until I chose a guy, I mean, who I worried for so many years. Somebody that is very educated. And say, my name is and I open up to this guy. Dr. Gyimah, the next, I think about 4 Sundays. I'm quite sorry. The whole conversation.
Yeah, unfortunately. And I think sir, it has made so many people not share. Some of the greatest, let me change that word. Open, since we were so open, it is 2 prayers. Yeah.
Wow.
People have not gotten to understand most of those prayers should be in your private prayer, not public prayers.
To say me hiam pai boa.
Yes, sir, ebi obi ni mo asem no. Onim so obi okoka baby a enkonkonsa but the bomb pie is different. It's the same gossip. Because
the communication.
Ebi I say yensi trust mom pie. Na ma start oh already unim Joe boy obeko Ghana say ni na enyema oni me akanya na me asem the bomb pie say nyame.
Say oh boa no. Eso na wukuno.
That me bon me din konkonsa. And in this confidentiality no I've been in places that there was this young lady and I think she got pregnant out of wedlock.
Okay.
We got to find out in a prayer. We got to find out in a prayer. And some of us even open our eyes. Say, yeah. I think say, and those of us and for a confiding us, our answers to them should be weighed more seriously. Because whatever we tell them, no, can have the same ripple effect. I think Enrana Joanna, comedian BCC saying Kofokra change the way we conconsa. Or no, I'll make Castro so who so ye see. Or Fraka say the mutual Hakra Monchiami beam or me. as in nyamuna sesi a onu kunu mutike mu a mudi agora ma betwe ma sesi no the phone ato so no ba na free ni kunu he na wo
ese no kunu give you trouble
yeah we treasure atom in the end but going back to this now, I think that we have to have that confidentiality back so we can't say it is not your place. If you're going to pray about it, pray in your privacy. And it is not in our place to go and pray publicly for people who have not access to pray for them publicly.
We cried it, just say, hey, so I went to the church. Me to one and Nipani preach, and the conversation started so preachy. I'm trying so hard in my mind to say,
not to connect the dots.
Yes, I was trying so hard, and then there was this specific question that he asked me, and I gave him an answer to that question. And I recommend the book be by me say, question that he asked me, the answer that I gave, the book. So it's not like say, why you say more based on the conversation now. On them have it.
Yeah.
It means sitting down. I don't have trust in anybody. I make say, meet me a cause me will problem be a because in the they cry the name a man here you cry and say my brother, my cousin was in the church and he has seen me reading that book. And he has seen me reading that book. And when he was preaching, he just turned and looked at my face like it's like, oh God.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, and I think that at Sesena hopefully we've seen. I keep using this word ripple effect because the Amime culture, it has the potential of affecting so many people in your circle and maybe my circle. But me dem feel say me no nkwan daily, and I think that we have to respect the privacy of people. Ne obi be can central. News reporters obi apeso breaking news. You know.
And a problem also you you say obi a journalist or the phone till obi a journalist and also call live or charge out to.
It's unfortunate. I hope that we would readjust senior Yenin Crawford Interactive because hopefully things would get better. But if it doesn't, what role can I play? Obi be can't say me. It didn't meet me. I can't change pakro. So be confided in me. How do I keep that confidence of Nipakrono? How do I keep that? Because Nipakro, at the end of the day, we want to help that person, and you don't want to be in a situation ebia unti and asembia what kind of baby then it creates even more problems than it's supposed to create.
As you are saying it, it make perfect sense. So it make perfect sense. But before say the because if you are also brain, say me say atomeno. It makes it hard. How do I spot the right person to talk to? I'm going through a lot in my marriage. A lot is going on in my household. How do I spot the right person? Say, oh, the pastor will say they be between nakasaje ajemwa. Because honestly, me free say you bear man they see and say they be a bit me ajemwa one why ke be they see na anyede. And see. How do we figure these people out? Maybe it be ajemwa.
So I think sir, you also have to do your due diligence. If you see somebody else, you want to you don't just open the entire book to them. Give them a little bit and just see where they are, and build that relationship. And yet, prekunana, obey. It's the church has taken over this role. No, it's unfortunate that these things are happening even among the body of Christ. That's the unfortunate part because most of us belong to religious organizations. They have been our home away from home. Unfortunately, they are there to support us. And I think that we have to take that to a next level. Say we are truly supporting them to be successful. And there are certain things that, it will hinder their success. It will even cause many problems. It's a tough question, but I think that when you identify that one person and it doesn't have to be in leadership role, it could be an elderly person. Just test them out and see. Me nana, I understand. Me te say only one school near you, but when he did any business transaction, he had a way to determine say ubisi announce no. He had lunch or breakfast with you. He watches how you eat. And that told him, say,
oh, you buy it too much also.
And that's what you know. Into Moody DVR, no, I can't say, who the actually. One thing and can't just say.
So, yeah. I think it's a brilliant one.
Yeah,
that it's a brilliant one because if I say by yet.
Yeah.
Oh, by worry, seven.
Body. This could do.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to.
In his own mind, he had a way of sorting people out. You know, if you'll be or what business degree would have different questions to ask. But no, we need to be busa. No, so
practical. That's a good system.
Yeah.
You know, as this thing that you just said, no, bit job because but that's really a good system to know how people behave. No?
Yeah. Into me, I have way of knowing people. You give me just a few minutes with people and I can tell certain things about them, you know. Yeah. And I won't say your culture, no. And let me just say this. Everybody is striving to break the news. Into emphasis I bet say, Maka say, hey, Kiki Waho. If we had 10 people in this room, every one of us, I bet you, will try to tell me something about Kiki Onim. Oh, and Nekra off. Oh, me who saw her in the car. Oh, Kiki crop plan is over coffee. Oh, yes, say, every Obiabe can be about. All I did was, hey, Kiki Waho.
Kiki Waho, no. As
I think our culture, no. I don't know if it's a cultural thing, but we have to learn. Yeah, you saw my uncle was in the police force. And he taught us this from Tama. Only answer the questions you have been asked. Wait for them to ask or call him. And kase debi uniho or kwa kra or bebechina. No, they've not asked you that. And it has stuck with me. Even with my visa interviews, I only give straight answers.
You will be sad about the amount.
It me relative back home or something come with DNA.
Yeah,
because and this got into me too much. Said, my papa don't be share me baby, and also, oh papa who you mama who I'm saying he was expecting send me coffee. I'm going to catch my parents said me who as me no so chiama. I didn't say that because you did not say me go chiama. Into ono who me papa no busas na kwesi an catch us me nam si there be like I was standing nam si there be so one cassette. Yeah, I think say if we can start doing some of these things, it will save a lot of marriages. It will save a lot of relationships because it comes down to communication and miscommunication and misunderstanding.
And it looks like say adrenaline kasana. You see the covenant now kind. I stick it with me. It seems like adrenaline kasana. Yeah, they corner. And so you're wrong.
Yeah, it's wrong.
Because most men no unya esi so no we school no started the Gyimah the next move no it's a book be that hard say the say
but sometimes you say be on here ready so but is a pressure is a pressure me kai time na me nyamware na papa bi ohumi bia me bompai ma pass so be ware enipa mu o nti one day ohumi o cancer na me so pani da ben pa na wa bo me din fasi Gyimah won pai bo mu na ohwe me. And I'm saying not until say ube bomi dian kasa wompai bomono. Ushiyama don't tell me say bompai mouse worry. And after that he never brought that topic up again. Because it got too much. You don't even know my plans. You know, it is sometimes it's just the pressure. Oh, worry so then the pressure of having kids. And my son is 8, my daughter is 10. Nano Krobika say with them when I'm fatten, say like baby a dream. You know.
I mean the same with you. Basically we should the same thing. We should be 9 and 7. And the beer.
Yeah.
In a call bado, remember me no die. Udi kwa the same say I'm say baba go continue. Over we the end of bako ka ho and one day my wife said something. I say can you even imagine say come into me and what?
Yeah.
Too. Yeah. And these people are still pressuring me, say, me for back on count. Could you imagine say me problem be? Let's say and no tina mean to be what. So mema ukunu kura kwa for back for. Because that pressure of and it is true, but the society is also always going to be there.
No, you see, the external forces, is huge. The external pressure on us, and at the time will not even let us go into how couples live with a Japadian animal. We see more bushing for all kinds of things. We have. I'll give an example. Let's say a family, Obano. Ebusia for Ghana, Beman Ebusia for her. When you get married, when it comes to family support, obviously more support, would go towards Obano.
Yeah.
It's a given.
Yeah. Because
they need that. It takes some form of agreement and understanding. Say, and I'm saying me family, Beman family waha, and also Obano family waha ni saying it to know. One part of the family will get more support. That shouldn't be a problem. Because a idea but can you imagine the external forces behind saying what you it's none of anybody's business. I went to one of the African countries now, Ubibusa me say, I know it was a trick question. Ubusa say, yes, a mema boa we Juma wofie. And I knew where that person was coming from. And I'm saying, me senior ma me fie. Me no aduane, me take out trash, me ye bibia, and I'm saying me pia bontia. It's not written on me. And I'm saying, even if it's written on me, it's nobody's business what I do at home. It is what is working in my home. And I think so we have to also get to the point where this is our home. This is how we want to live it. We want to have 2 kids. That is our business. Yepese Kotna outside Columbus, that's our business. Yepese apartment, it's our business. Yepese Ethiopia, it's our business. Let people be. And the most we can do for them, is pray for them. Say, Nyankopon should give them wisdom. Nyankopon emwa omo. And if we have advices to give it in a way, and you are not imposing or you're not creating any, have the best interest of people at heart.
And it looks like most of the people, advices are the mom for. It's basically the way or no person running a life.
Yeah.
And all catch will say it's what as or Ghana, Charlie. As I saw Ghana phone, you could pass as a bito. So without knowing, say be any partner crown on an casano, say or plan class of Okako to us as a sidai, say Okaku to Yama estate developer, I am an unnamed plan, but
in all fairness, most of this advice is coming from a good place. Yeah. They see say, and most people know say it's just this one plug. Obaha to assassin where Sifi and but these days, there are different options to planning and all of that. It is what it is.
Yeah. So, with the marriage, and as we all seen, we've talked about the communication and the understanding and the covenant of the marriage, the origin of the marriage. We all know that it's a great institution, and it's a very vital institution as part of us as humans. But it's still she way, Yeah, say, it looking more like say the ubit me ayabuame. I think say a lot of miscommunication, ebano. Because say me bano. The oban bit me ayabuame na me nam. The oban so de bano. The beba bit me ayabuame. Why the cry the belly first quite a problem. How do we approach situations like that? Is this something that has to be talked about before we even get into this covenant, or how do we approach it?
So I think it boils down to coming together and being one. One in purpose, one in agenda. It doesn't mean, say, one, we are coming to be one in the Bemanepe. Both of us, what are our dreams? And these are discussions that it should take place before you even get married. And before we got married, we knew we had an idea of number of Nkwala, we want to have, we had certain things that we talked about, and we're still working on some of them, And these are conversations that we should, and I am so grateful to Nyankopon. Say, I married from a family, are very supportive. My in-laws have been very supportive. Ghana, even my mother-in-law, if we are sometimes more. than you know.
Wow,
you know, and my wife has great relationship with my father and my family. And I just thank God for that. Because when you hear what's happening in other families, you look back and say, wow, and I think said the preparation part, no, and I know, sir, we have to get into the practicals of it. What are some of the obvious things we can do? Once men communicate differently.
Of course.
Even coming together as one, or no one could be a different thing, meaning something else. Men communicate differently, women communicate differently. You reacted differently to Nema. Say BBC will fear. The typical response of Bema is to just sit down quietly, no idea. The wife is more dramatic, you know. But Otihodins, and it doesn't mean say but ebia or calculate on adnim. Adiana abano ebia kaba. Ministry yenisika say why na meet me a friend no credit card ben bit me use. All of these things air cost woni trim. I'll give a perfect example. Yemfa say akolaketo aba no osun o de penny mano no jaisu to us no mission accomplished akwa no osun we jaisu. But if there's another woman or her akwa na jaisu, but that's not enough. They want to check send a diaper for akwa na didi nenikum. They think in details. Until when you get married, you have oba or thinking in details. Into oba busa say, yeah, we want to do a perfect example. Your business be person me. Oh dear, in your mind, what calculate whom for so benyani bibia, no catch your wife say, your business way. Then she begins to ask details. Now, boyfriend.
I think it's a mimi problem back upon So me and my wife were going through the same thing. Anytime Biana, maybe a very straight, I want to move.
Yeah.
And Timmy in the car, some no per se, umano de, can say the nitty gritty of the whole,
so
you know.
She is wired like that.
So in my mind, I was thinking, or doubt me.
Yeah, that's the interpretation.
Like, or doubt to say, I said, I make kind of me boy now, per se, me like. Okay, so it got to a point where I be come out with the receipt about the receipt today. And also said the receipt today. No. So I didn't understand at the time. Until I understand it now,
But I picked it up even from my boy and my girl. And Koma or no nimidino, girl nimidino. She asks more questions than boy no. So into all of these things, that's how God wired them. Into when God is saying, I'm bringing you a help meter, He's bringing you somebody that will help you pay attention to the details and ask the right questions.
Wow.
And if you listen to that person, it helps you. The times I'm in charge of your finances with the moment my wife takes control of your finances, we are good. Because maybe cost her, I'm just picking a name my fee set, you know. But on no cost, she has a list. Intina saying, or be sit to wait to Mrs. Sunday, taxi bremi. Let me follow that list. And it's
book there.
Yeah, let me use that playbook. That's why a woman can have a few resources with fear and still come up with a
multiply.
Meal. I bet me Juma with fear. We are not wired like that. It is to our advantage to listen to this help me tanyame edia brain.
A whole problem. No?
Yeah.
Say you bit to me. And sometimes they be a high arrogance. Feel say
no, but said it all boils down to communication too. Emma woman no. Remember, we have this ego. Emma woman they feed into that ego. They feed that ego. All you need is just feed that ego. Say you saw no mommy person smawa. O bomrane e be mena near ye oh baby obesmo be odimiri but I can say ko ye we ya na obuafu. But the moment that mrane ni bem no, even at that age no, all the we're doing is just feeding our ego for us to feel important as men. It's the same strategy. In the women who know it, there's this, is it Danny Glover, one of these movie actors? No,
Danny Glover.
We had the movie back home, and in the movie, they portray saying the wife a controller, no. Omoko party be and the wife can say omunko fie, and all the guys like, whoa.
I don't know. You didn't tell us.
Who say no catching it. Say I go home when I want to go home. Or can say we all say now we go home.
It's a Seattle. I can't do all. I like that. I like that.
But it's the same thing. Oba would name how to feed that ego, no. Ebi a trash. Ayema wofie. Oka se kwesi yi trash ya kwesi bubefu. Waka se bema na e trash ayema ofi se yi ni sese na se echire. They've thrown it to me.
I had to make a decision.
For me to make that decision, and you trash
no be natural.
And no be natural. And it's a psychological, even with kids. We do it with our kids. Me ko jare wana se wa ba ko jare. No no yi ba kon. But at the end of the day, no.
You
know, and there are things that
it is so great that you're putting it this way, and it seems say yeah, share my many and namwa, and I think we would have picked because sometimes you know utumu say adie pa esa woje ba you see say my for no more wadwe be o be or dada but so dada so dada it has been done. There's no quarrel. Oh, and I believe say a name member be brain so Jane say obi feel say or try say control it.
Yeah, it's the ego thing, and I think that you have to look at it from this way. Ebia ejuma ni supervisor we ni channel ya call Jojo no ejuma musa. The last place they want to see that repeated any fee. Or yeah.
It will be authority will be
yeah, they can because but when you be refia, you don't add that pressure to them. You don't. It has to be done in a way the woman knows her role. Necessarily she's lesser than him.
No.
But she is there to support, you know. And another example, Emma Omo, many so unfortunately, Yema Bebrenu, they make more money than the husbands. But it takes Oba, who is wise, to play that game well.
Or take covenant.
Yeah, into Oba would name how to do it. No, if you are cost or wakohu bibi, no abeti me at all. But they'll call the husband. Enyame, me humpa bobi o hampe se meto na mi busa se okay se meto. No man in their right sense will say no.
Mentor.
Because you fed their ego. Sika nenye usika. Onwani, you know.
Onwani sika.
Yeah. Obekas you're saying, oh, another color kra to, you know. But ema omunim so no ebia kwala na bebusa ne bibi. No ashara ka se kobusa o papa. No one say papa ni bi, but they give it to the father to give to akwala. They feeding that ego.
As some all kind, there was this woman that at work na a Christmas they trap picture together. And a friend, oh, Anne, brother. So let me call my husband first. I was surprised.
Yeah.
White woman.
Yeah.
It's your funny started drinking and say, no abuse that like.
No. That's a wise woman.
Ofri say on friend kunu na on any kunu can say oh group picture. Group picture oh just say on ubi akujina baby.
Yeah.
So wow.
That man in his right sense would not say no.
Never.
We're feeding the ego. Wow, even picture my wife afraid me. It's if we understand how we both communicate, Mekai, there are times now my wife here at my office no, she'll call me half of the people at Nejuma minimum. I know I can say BBC say my dynamite na my JJ. Hey sir, we are there to so 3 minutes. They are to so. But if a friend and me say necessary for in a minimum, then I'll have me. I'll create a 1 week
conflict.
problem. You know,
yeah.
But I've endured
communication.
I've endured for 3 minutes and prevented
1 week of trouble.
Whatever. You know, if I'm there to so. Now in my mind I'm saying, hey, you know. You know, but I think that we have to see that this is a union. We are one. We look out for each other. I'm not trying to outdo you. I'm not trying to outsmart you. We're not competing. Nyankopon is the originator of this institution. You know? How do we make it work? You know, and I think that the advantage I have as believers, no, is that we can always go to the author of the covenant and ask for help. You know, ask for help.
We should always go to the author of the covenant, to ask for help.
Ask for help.
Mr. Gyimah, I have 1 hour 10 minutes.
Okay.
Me say next week. So since we and we 10 hours.
No.
10 hours quite no. But I want us to keep it, you know, in a series form that a bit to me as I understand it be very clearer. Now yet to me I tackle every aspect of it.
You know what my at Asemisi, we've talked a lot. I'm looking forward to a day the men in our community would meet and talk. There are certain things that we can only talk man to man and help each other. You know, there are so many resources for Ma Wukrumha. Yeah, but unfortunately, no, you need be brace for men.
For men. Remember the TTC too.
She say Father's Day background. You know, we have to find an outlet. You bet me a share. It could be a small group. When you say a tiku for, but how can we support each other? Now, the people among us what the experience there, you know, help us. Help the young ones.
I think this is something we can do.
Yeah.
This is really something we can do.
Yeah.
Said that that is something that we can really do.
I am open to being part of Bibisa because your boys, our little boys are watching us. You know, our younger boys, the young adults, Umina, they are watching us, and we're not just living property for them. We have to leave legacies for them. We have to leave Bibia they can thrive on, you know.
And we are not there.
Yeah, when we are not there. And even in our presence, no crown, we want to see some changes begin to happen. We don't want BBC to happen again among us. You know, if somebody out there is struggling, reach out to somebody. You know, reach out to somebody. You don't have to tell them all your problems. I think we are all old enough to get a hint. So because hey, you know, let's do that.
And the money you say, and I think what you just suggested is very, very important, because the money you say, the moment that Beman go through pain or badness of her.
Yeah. It has
it always end like that.
Yeah.
Say when a man no or go to, because if she it's in audio now, like you could you could tell darkness in his voice.
Yeah.
The cassette when say it was so dark.
It's a bad place to be, unfortunately. It's a bad place to be. And unfortunately, no, what has happened has happened. But moving forward, no, how do we, if there's somebody out there who there is help available. And if that, me kind of be I live close to a Walmart on Morse Road. I don't shop there. I go to either Delaware or Westerville. If the help you need is not within your denomination, reach out to somebody else. Yeah. Don't keep quiet because what's into me, wow. Reach out to somebody else. At the end of the day, you need help. You know? And let's let's be careful the advice we give them. Let's not give them street advice. Give them wise counsel. Because no, but you have to also get to the point you shut up. Them say, oh, but this is what we can do together. Why don't we look for beer? Don't just say things because you want to look relevant. No, it's between life and death.
No, correct, Mr. Gyimah. You're the best here. You're the best here for not next week, you know. You're twice and then because I did in the what you to be 10 hours, 10 weeks, grano. Be just so bit me, but the Nabebe boy I may yet to me, no. Yes, so you're the better.
And I commend you for the initiative, sir. Yenye BBC. I think, sir, it's needed.
That's they said that there be a munim no way or major there be bar more munim say a equal quick copy na at the better ha. Open volume copies, open business cards, open envelopes, open brochures, open flyers, promo items, booklets, cardboard forms, invitations, rubber stamps, photos. Even old photos now per se chronic see amount now the ball or them one nina so no equal ebidi ho djuma e the amount for equal or 614-888-2201 we ship nationwide we be a will be ano ye be ship it na e dia bro equal war 1900 East Dublin Granville Road baby Afro 614 na Juana Inkwell wo former Ashland University building mwana wo me da obi bia se oje bre na ode etie me da Mr. Dr Gyimah binyan Mr. Ramyan doctor sometimes I get confused Dr Gyimah me da Dr Gyimah se obaye na obeka me ho e ma show yi me da me producer so ase se ono so e boy echi dom e switch e de mai me da tie fo ase me da obi bia ase mo share mo invite am for mo ba so